When you gaze into the night sky just after sunset or before sunrise, there's a good chance you'll spot a brilliant, steady light, so bright it can cast faint shadows. That's Venus, the third brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon. For millennia, Venus has captivated human imagination, inspiring myths, guiding ancient navigators, and even sparking the dreams of future explorers. But behind this dazzling glow lies a world of extremes, an alien landscape that's both beautiful and hostile, familiar in some ways and utterly unrecognizable in others. Welcome to a journey across Venus, where we'll uncover astonishing facts that reveal just how extraordinary this planet truly is. It's often said that Venus is Earth's twin, but this resemblance is only skin deep. Both planets are nearly identical in diameter. Venus is just a little smaller, about 12,000 kilometers across compared to Earth's 12,700. Their masses and densities are close, too, leading astronomers to call Venus our sister planet. But for all these similarities, Venus could hardly be more different. If you could stand on its surface, you'd find yourself in a world more hostile than any place on Earth. The air would be unbreathable, the pressure crushing, and the heat overwhelming. The gentle blue skies we know would be replaced by a perpetual orange haze, thick with clouds of acid. Venus is a lesson in how two planets, born in the same solar neighborhood, can end up worlds apart. One of the most surprising facts about Venus is that it's the hottest planet in our solar system, even hotter than Mercury, which sits closest to the Sun. You might expect Mercury to hold the record, but Venus's thick atmosphere is the secret to its searing heat. Composed of over 96% carbon dioxide, the atmosphere acts like a giant heat-trapping blanket. Sunlight penetrates the upper clouds, warming the planet's rocky surface. But instead of escaping back into space, the heat gets trapped by the dense greenhouse gases. This runaway greenhouse effect has turned Venus into a furnace, with surface temperatures soaring to around 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 475 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead. No metal, no spacecraft designed for long-term exploration, and certainly no life as we know it could endure these conditions for long. But the strangeness of Venus doesn't stop at its climate. Its day is longer than its year. That's right. Venus takes about 243 Earth days to rotate once on its axis, but only 225 Earth days to complete an orbit around the Sun. So, while a year on Venus is about 2/3 as long as one of our years, a single day drags on for nearly 8 Earth months. If you stood on the surface, you'd watch the Sun crawl slowly across the sky, taking months to rise and set. This slow spin creates some of the most bizarre day-night cycles in the solar system. Truly a world where time itself seems to warp. And as if that weren't unusual enough, Venus spins in the opposite direction to most planets. While Earth and most of its planetary neighbors rotate counterclockwise if viewed from above their north poles, Venus rotates clockwise, a phenomenon called retrograde rotation. What does this mean for a hypothetical visitor? On Venus, the Sun would rise in the west and set in the east, the exact opposite of what we experience on Earth. The cause of this backward spin is still debated, but scientists suspect it may be the result of a massive collision early in Venus's history, or perhaps tidal interactions with the Sun that gradually flipped its rotation over billions of years. Beneath its cloudy veil, Venus hides a dynamic and rugged landscape. Towering mountains, enormous volcanoes, and vast rolling plains cover the surface. The highest peak, Maxwell Montes, rises 11 kilometers above the average surface level, making it taller than Mount Everest. Many of the volcanoes on Venus dwarf those on Earth, with some calderas stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Radar maps sent back by spacecraft reveal ancient lava flows and strange pancake-shaped domes formed by slow, viscous eruptions. Even more intriguing, there's evidence that some Venusian volcanoes might still be active today. Flashes of infrared light and changing chemical signatures in the atmosphere suggest that eruptions could be happening right now, reshaping the planet's surface in real time. The atmosphere itself is a marvel of extremes. It's incredibly thick, so thick, in fact, that the pressure at the surface is over 90 times what we experience at sea level on Earth. That's the equivalent of being 3,000 feet underwater in the deepest ocean trenches. This pressure would crush most spacecraft and obliterate any human visitor in moments. And the air is not just heavy, but toxic. The clouds that shroud the planet are made of sulfuric acid, a compound so corrosive that it would eat through metal, plastic, and even glass given enough time. Breathing on Venus is not just impossible, it's deadly. Unlike Earth, Venus is lonely in the cosmos. It has no moons and no rings. But perhaps even more intriguing is its almost complete lack of a magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field shields us from solar and cosmic radiation. But Venus's weak magnetosphere, generated not by its core but by interactions between the solar wind and its atmosphere, offers little protection. The planet's thick clouds do provide some shielding, but the surface is still bombarded by charged particles from the sun. Despite this, Venus's atmosphere remains largely intact, suggesting a delicate balance between solar stripping and atmospheric replenishment. One of the reasons Venus shines so brightly in our sky is its remarkable reflectivity. The planet's dense clouds act like a cosmic mirror, bouncing back about 70% of the sunlight that strikes them. This high albedo makes Venus the most reflective planet in the solar system and explains why it's so prominent at dusk and dawn. Even a small telescope reveals its brilliant disk, sometimes outshining the brightest stars. But the Venus we see today may not always have been so hellish. Some scientists believe that billions of years ago, Venus might have looked more like Earth. Climate models suggest the planet could once have had shallow oceans and a temperate climate. If so, Venus may have enjoyed a long period of habitability, perhaps even supporting simple life forms. But at some point, a tipping point was reached, possibly triggered by massive volcanic eruptions or changes in solar radiation. The oceans evaporated, the atmosphere thickened with carbon dioxide, and the planet entered the runaway greenhouse state we see today. Studying Venus is like looking into a possible future for Earth, reminding us of the delicate balance that sustains life. One of the most dramatic features of Venus is its atmosphere's super-rotating winds. While the planet itself spins lazily, the winds in its upper atmosphere race around the globe at over 200 miles per hour, faster than the fastest hurricanes on Earth. These winds complete a full circuit of Venus in just 4 Earth days, whipping the clouds into vast swirling bands. This phenomenon, known as superrotation, is still not fully understood, but it creates an ever-changing dynamic weather system high above the planet's surface. The mysteries of Venus don't end there. Like the moon, Venus goes through phases as seen from Earth. When it's closest to us, Venus appears as a thin crescent. When it's on the far side of the sun, it shines as a nearly full disk. These changing shapes, visible through even small telescopes, were first observed by Galileo in the early 17th century and helped prove that planets orbit the sun, not the other way around. But if you wanted to land a spacecraft on Venus and take a closer look, you'd face some daunting challenges. The crushing pressure, searing heat, and corrosive clouds have destroyed most probes within minutes. Only the Soviet Venera missions in the 1970s and 1980s managed to send back photos from the surface, and the longest any lander lasted was just under 2 hours. The images they returned are haunting, showing a rocky, desolate landscape bathed in orange light, with the lander's own components beginning to melt and buckle under the extreme conditions. Despite these harsh realities, Venus continues to fascinate scientists and dreamers alike. In its extremes, it holds clues to the past and future of our own planet, reminding us how fragile the balance of climate can be, and how even a world so similar in size and mass can become utterly alien. As new missions prepare to return to Venus in the coming decades, we may soon unlock more secrets from beneath its clouds. From its searing heat to its backward spin, from its mysterious past to its storm-tossed skies, Venus is a planet of paradoxes. It is both familiar and alien, dazzling and deadly, one of the brightest jewels in our night sky, and one of the most inhospitable places in the solar system. The story of Venus is a reminder that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we can imagine, and that beyond every brilliant point of light lies a world waiting to be explored. So the next time you see Venus shining in the twilight, remember, you're looking at a planet that holds the scars of ancient oceans, the heat of 1,000 greenhouses, and the promise of discoveries yet to come. In the endless cosmos, Venus stands as a testament to the beauty and complexity of our solar system, a beacon for curiosity and a challenge for exploration. And as we look up and wonder, we're reminded that the universe is full of strange and wonderful places, and Venus is one of the brightest.